Well, good morning. It's a beautiful day, and it's summer church at Westwinds. My name is Phil. I'm one of the teaching pastors here, and this is Kiki, our
Hello.
children's pastor. And outdoor church has been a lot of fun, hasn't it?
It's been so much fun. I hope you stop by the kids' tent. We've got all sorts of fun happening back there.
You can't miss it, but it's cool to see not only that they're doing stuff together, like the areas are, but there's such a great feel out on the hillside, and you can see that service in its entirety after 6 p.m. If you're watching it this live, or if you're watching on Sunday the 4th, by 6 p.m., that service will be there for you to watch, and you can see the entire sermon. But we are in the book of James this whole summer, and we're not doing it like, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3.
Yeah, we're not going through it methodically.
Yeah, there's just so much in there. So we're taking some different approaches, different passages that really stand out to us. And
Yes.
This passage this week's pretty short. If you want to just
I'll go ahead and read it. So we're in James 4, 13 through 14. Pay attention to you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a town. We will stay there a year, buying and selling and making a profit. You don't really know about tomorrow. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for only a short while before it vanishes.
That's wild, isn't it?
It is wild.
You are a mist.
Mist.
I always think of that. That my grandkids would have those mist bottles when we'd be at a zoo or something like that. Just, there it is. It's
cool
gone.
down. It's there and gone.
It's gone, and it sounds a little harsh until you kind of see that what James is trying to exaggerate to say, life is short.
Yeah, it's short and sweet.
And if I spend my life living in the past, or I spend my days living in the future, it kind of goes by us.
Yeah. So that's like the whole concept here, though. Mm-hmm. Like to wrap around it, because we just did sermon preview. Sorry. But you called it living in the present.
Yeah.
And that's so perfect for this.
It really is. And living in the present, some people just pass that off like, well, live for today, or like, don't worry.
Carpe diem.
Yeah. And it's maybe it's that simple for some people, but for most of us in the world we live in, with all the complexities,
it's never that simple.
Exactly. Because you have 3 children in your home. You and your husband have 3 children in your home. You don't get to say, I won't think about tomorrow.
No, I have to make sure we have dinner and clean clothes and all of the things that make a home run. School.
And then as your oldest is getting older and older, you're going to have to be thinking about the future.
Long-term futures.
So it's like living in the present is not this everything's cool enough to think about the future at all. In fact, we're going to talk about James' approach to it, but when Jesus approached it, I think sometimes the translation, it says, don't worry about tomorrow. And sometimes people take that as, it'll take care of itself. Well, tomorrow won't take care of itself. But I think in the original language, the literal thing is, do not have anxiety in your soul about tomorrow. And that's something different, isn't it?
That is something completely different. I mean, if you're a bread maker, you know that you have to plan for the yeast to rise.
Yeah.
You have to put it out the night before so you can bake the bread early in the morning. You have to plan for tomorrow. Yeah. But what you don't have to worry about is whether or not the yeast is going to work.
Because
that's out of your control.
That's a God thing, right?
Yeah, either God's got that or he doesn't.
Yeah, and I think it's really important when we talk about living in the moment. Again, for some of us, I've always, that's a real discipline for me. It doesn't come easy for me.
No.
And I also think living in the moment is not to deny our pain.
Right.
Because I kind of told you guys, I'm going through a time right now where, not in my family, but in my circle of friends, I have a lot of friends who are going through heavy grief right now. In fact, your family is one of those people I was praying for today. Your family, because you've lost an uncle. And there's been a lot of that. And for people going through grief, we can't just simply say, don't worry about tomorrow, because...
No, because it shows up in the weirdest times.
Yeah, and even if a person in grief is feeling a sense of peace right now, it might be different in an hour.
It could totally be different.
So many triggers when you're going through grief. So it's not this simplistic thing of, just smile and don't worry about tomorrow. No, it's how do I go through this process in life of experiencing God's presence with me in the darkest times and in the good times.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things that we're doing at the end of our services, we're kind of using a liturgical approach to our time together on Sundays. And at the end, there's this time of confession. But what I love about our time of confession is usually when we think of confession, it's like confessing my sins. You know?
These are all the things I did
All
wrong
the
this
things
week.
I did wrong, and I'll try to feel guilty enough that God forgives me. But we don't confess to talk God into forgiving us. We confess to get a perspective. You know, it humbles us, but we also confess our joy. We also confess
our Thanksgiving.
And our hurts,
Absolutely.
aren't sins, but just our woundedness. You know,
Or the things that are consuming our lives that we would like to lay on Him instead of ourselves.
Exactly. And so we've kind of been ending our services with that, and that's been really, really cool. But one of the things that is we've been using this book called Common that has our hymns and our songs in there and scriptures and everything like that and exercises you can do it. And it's available online too, so you don't have to actually be here to get it. But Pastor Corey put something in here he calls a brain dump.
I love that term.
Is that a great term? It doesn't sound real spiritual, but it really is. And what he says is, so let's say you're going to be reading in the book of James. That's one way to center ourselves and one way to live in the moment.
Yeah.
Scripture is a way. A lot of people down through the ages have lived in the moment by reading from the Psalms and things like that. So, but he kind of advises, like, before you read Scripture or try to live in Scripture, do a brain dump. And what does that mean to you? Because you were just telling me you practice that. What does a brain dump mean to you?
So I do brain dump regularly. I do a meditative practice or peace practice for myself. And for me, a brain dump, I spend 20 minutes, but 5 minutes of it is brain dump. And I verbally just speak out all of the things that are on my brain, in my schedule, in my heart, the things going on with the kids, the things going on with my marriage, the things going on with my family, all the things I'm concerned about. And I get them all out of my brain for 5 minutes and just verbally speak them out to God. And then I sit for 15 minutes and stay quiet because I've had my turn.
And that's not easy.
It's not easy.
I mean,
it's definitely a practice that takes a long time to learn. I've been practicing it since I was in high school.
Yeah.
Like my junior years when I started it.
Yeah.
So
we joke about how hard it is to keep quiet, but it's hard to quiet your mind.
It's so hard to quiet your mind.
And now that's cool how for you verbalize it. For other people, I kind of picture as the thoughts that are keeping me from being able to live in the presence. I kind of picture where I'm throwing them behind me. That's just kind of a picture
I like
have.
that.
But I also like when you verbalize it. It's kind of like, here, I put these in the Lord's hands.
Yes.
Because they're important.
They're important.
You're not saying, oh, I don't need to. No, they're important things.
Yeah.
Getting my insurance paid this week is important.
Yes.
We're not minimizing that, but sometimes you got to lay that in the Lord's hands and say, my mind can't do that now, but I want to see you. And I think what we really kind of want to emphasize today is that living in the moment is really trying to see God in the moment. And for some people, are you a nature person?
I am a total nature person.
I thought you were, because you like gardening and all that kind of stuff. But some people, they just say, I need to, on a regular time, I need to, and I know I have friends who, they don't care if it's dead of winter or what, they got to get outside.
I have to get outside.
Because that's one of the ways they connect to God.
Yep, I am one of those people. My feet have to touch the grass.
Yeah, and then I know barefoot.
Yes.
Barefoot is very healthy, by the way. That's a whole other subject. Yeah. And then I know I have friends who, beauty, like especially in music or beauty, they need to just have a time where beautiful music will kind of clear the way where they can begin to see God. I've been trying different things, but one of the things I'm trying to do is throughout my day. I mean, I need that quiet time in the morning. I just need it because I always struggle with anxiety. I'll wake up anxious.
Yeah. Well, and a quiet time in the morning it's a luxury.
Yeah, it is. It is, because I say I do that. Carol and I are at the point where we don't have children in our home, so it's a little easier than for people who want that quiet time and have toddlers or just different work schedules. So not one size does not fit all. We all find different ways. But one of the ways I'm also trying is just to try to see God. I volunteer some with adults who have some cognitive issues and disabilities, and it's easy to see God in them. It really is, because they are so loving to me, and they welcome me so much. Sometimes it's not easy to see God in others, but we see Him in nature.
Yep.
We see Him in the day by day, and sometimes you look at your kid, one of your kids, and you just go, he's amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
seeing God.
Absolutely.
And your kids.
And we all have those big, like the macros moments that, where we see God, the, first time on top of a mountain, first time seeing the ocean, seeing the birth of a child, the solar eclipse that just happened. I cried. I was not expecting it to be a spiritual moment for me, but it really was.
It really was. Yeah,
it really was. I mean, we went and saw it in totality. And I was really surprised by that. It was, it was a big moment, but there's those everyday moments too, where you can see God. I remember when my kids were little, we would find colors outside. We'd be like, bring me something that's green, bring me something that's pink, bring me something that's yellow, and it was about seeing how God created color all around us. And it was just giving them the practice of seeing something in nature that reminds them that they are a small piece of this big thing. We are just a small piece in all of the colors.
Yeah.
So.
And I've learned that some people, it's just the way we're wired. Some of us see God, we go from small to large, some of us go large to small. I'm one that, like, if I can, when I've been to the ocean, or I love the Great Lakes, there's that majesty, the bigness, and I feel real small, but not in an insignificant way. I feel small in that I'm part of this world. I'm part of this. But other people, like you say, they'll see a caterpillar, and they'll be intrigued by it, or they'll see a puppy or something like that. And I know that sounds corny, but it's not corny, because you begin to see that that's a beautiful creation, and then you start seeing, well, it's not just that animal or that tree or something, or that stone, it's people around. So some people, they kind of see God going from small to large, and some large. And I think we all do it in both ways, but it's kind of nice there's a way you're comfortable, and then a way you kind of discipline yourself to do it too.
Exactly. The way that's not natural. Sometimes you have to kind of like force your perspective.
Yeah.
And it takes time and adjustment.
Yeah, especially in our busy world, and I think one of the misnomers is, well, you have to have an hour to meditate to see. No. You see God. That's why what Jesus said over and over. If you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you'll see and hear. But we could talk about this forever. But
we really could.
but we're going to be talking about some of that today. And again, we invite you for the rest of the summer. Our Sunday services are 10 a.m. And then in the fall, we'll go back to 2 services on a Sunday morning. But again, we'll be here at 10 a.m. every Sunday in this format, and then on Sunday evenings by 6 o'clock or after, you'll be able to watch the service. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. You can go to westwinds.org, and you can get all kinds of information there. And there's a contact page there. You can contact us, and you can also call the office. And I should know the office number offhand. It's 750. I think it's 750-1000.
It's not 1000. It ends in 111.
Oh, I think it's 750-1111.
I think it's 517.
You can tell that we always call the cell phone of Michelle instead of actually calling the office. So.
I just text Michelle. She's fantastic.
Yes. So anyway, at the website. Okay, I shouldn't have brought this up unless I
You didn't. Yep.
But anyway, I think it's 750-1111. That's it. Yes. 750-1111 is his phone number. But again, the website's probably the easiest way. Or stop by, and we'd love to have you. And everyone's welcome. We just, that's a big deal to us. In this summer, we're taking the sacrament of Holy Communion every Sunday, and it's a huge part of our whole belief system is that everyone's welcome at the table. No one's required, but everyone is welcome in the sacraments and all that we do. So, hey, thanks. I admire the work you do with the kids. 2 of her kids are my grandkids, and this is a fun place.
With the church, not my personal children.
I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean?
I only met Kiki a year and a half ago, actually. A couple of the kids in our kids ministry are my grandkids.
There we go.
And
those are all also my kids.
yeah,
just to
that's
be
why I
clear.
say your kids, you
Yeah.
know. So, but anyway, but thanks a lot. Hope to see you here some Sunday at 10 a.m. or online. And if you're traveling, don't forget, many of you are watching because you're traveling and can't be here. Don't forget that you can also give at westwinds.org/give. And again, finding information there. So thanks a lot. God bless you.